Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely wild, a fascinating intersection of ancient prophecy and the intense geopolitical tension we see in the world right now. We are going to examine a detailed timeline for an impending global conflict, as predicted by a text that has been quietly studied for centuries, but is suddenly exploding into the spotlight. It's a narrative filled with high-stakes, apocalyptic tension, and ultimately a really surprising message of spiritual survival. So let's just jump right in. The staggering, frankly mind-blowing geopolitical predictions we're about to explore all stem from a text penned exactly 600 years ago. Just think about that for a second. Imagine writing a document 6 centuries in the past that claims to map out the total collapse of modern global infrastructure. But that is the exact premise of the prophecies we are analyzing today. Now, this wasn't just some random writing. It was authored by the Panchasakhas, a highly revered group of 5 visionary saints from Odisha, India. Saint Achyutanand Das and his peers compiled these texts with a very specific, almost apocalyptic weight. They weren't just writing metaphors or poetry, they were recording what they deeply believed to be the definitive timeline for the end of our current era, which the scriptures call the Kali Yuga. So you might be asking, how on earth does a 600-year-old manuscript map to our present day? Well, it actually uses a literal ticking clock based on the stars. The text points to a specific astrological window known as Meena Shani. This is an astronomical cycle that happens roughly every 30 years, right when the slow-moving planet Saturn, or Shani, transits into the zodiac sign of Pisces, known as Meena. The text anchors its most dramatic global events to this exact celestial movement. And that exact celestial math is precisely why this text is gaining so much attention right now. If we track this 30-year cycle, the previous transit of Saturn into Pisces happened back in 1995. Add 30 years to that, and you get 2025. The next one won't even happen until 2054. According to the interpretations of the Mahalika, this current window starting in 2025 is the primary timeline for a massive global escalation, the destruction of the wicked, and finally the establishment of a totally new era of Dhamma. So what does this escalation actually look like on the ground? The text lays out a very specific and honestly quite terrifying geopolitical ladder. It predicts that a coordinated attack on India will be launched by Pakistan as a border conflict, with China entering from the north and east. But it doesn't stay local for long. It explodes into a massive world war. The text foretells a huge coalition stepping in to heavily fund one side, comprising Turkey, Iran, Britain, the United States, and 12 other Muslim-majority nations. Meanwhile, in a stark divide, the prophecies indicate Russia will stand alone alongside India. But here's the thing. This conflict doesn't just redraw a few borders. It completely shatters modern human institutions. The prophecies describe the extensive use of nuclear weapons leading to a devastating climax. We are literally talking about the total global collapse of schools, hospitals, corporations, and banking systems. Even worse, it predicts the absolute deactivation of all global communication. The texts even go so far as to describe unprecedented geographical anomalies, like a significant shift in the Earth's axis that causes the sun to physically set in the east and rise in the west. And the human cost detailed in these scriptures? It is almost impossible to wrap your head around. The text explicitly states that on a single day, an unimaginable 1 billion lives will be lost. 1 billion people perishing across a massive region stretching from Delhi to Nepal, Pakistan, China, Hong Kong, Afghanistan, Indonesia, and Thailand. It's not just humanity fighting itself, either. Nature essentially goes to war. Saint Achyutanand Das wrote of a dramatic prophecy predicting 3 massive earthquakes that will literally shake the universe. The most significant of these is foretold to hit an unheard-of magnitude of 16 to 17 on the Richter scale. The text describes enormous buildings crumbling to dust and the actual landscape transforming, with massive mountain ranges turning into rushing rivers. Now here's the piece of the puzzle you probably didn't know, and it's absolutely fascinating. The theological justification behind all this global chaos, the Malika claims that this coming world war isn't actually a new conflict at all. It is the unfinished battle of the ancient Mahabharata. According to the Panchasakhas, that legendary 18-day war from the ancient Dwapara Yuga was supposed to last just a bit longer. There was an unfinished Ik Bella Yuddha, a half-day war, that was destined to take place right now, at the end of the Kali Yuga, orchestrated by Lord Sri Krishna himself. Because this is literally an ancient war picking back up, the text claims that major warriors from the time of the Mahabharata have already been reborn on Earth today. Specifically, 5 young legendary warriors who couldn't participate in the original war for various reasons: Abhimanyu, Barbarik, Babruvahana, Eklavya, and Gatotkacha. They have reincarnated and are prophesied to engage in this fierce, final battle on the side of Dharma against Adharma. Right when things seem the absolute darkest, with nuclear weapons threatening complete global annihilation, the text foresees massive divine intervention. Lord Kalki is prophesied to step in directly, preventing the use of nuclear bombs on India and entirely thwarting the schemes of the coalition. According to the tradition, Kalki brings destruction to the wicked through fierce water deluges, devastating windstorms, and space calamities, all while using his divine power to shield and protect the devoted. I know this all sounds incredibly heavy, but right here is where we see a really profound and beautiful shift in the narrative. Pundit Dr. Sri Kashinath Mishra and the Biswa Sanatan Dharma Seva Trust make it crystal clear. The Bhavishya Malika is not meant to be a book of doom, gloom, and panic. At its core, it's actually a warm, incredibly hopeful spiritual survival guide. The goal isn't to issue threats, it's to offer a clear path of safety and grounding for anyone willing to listen. They lay out this amazing, completely free spiritual toolkit designed to help people navigate these chaotic times. The text gives 5 simple behavioral principles to live by to attain Lord Kalki. First, learn to obey. Second, learn to wait. Really cultivate true patience. Third, learn to love. Fourth, learn to fast. And fifth, actively let go of those ego-driven feelings of I, mine, you, and yours. It goes beyond just internal mindset, too. The text prescribes specific daily physical practices to really anchor yourself. The most prominent is the Trickle Sanya, 3 daily prayer windows. Followers are warmly encouraged to observe morning devotion between 3:45 and 6:30 a.m., midday devotion between 11:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m., and evening devotion right around sunset. This regular rhythm is explicitly designed to keep you grounded in constant spiritual awareness, pulling you far away from the anxieties of global conflicts. The main takeaway here is that the teachings of the Malika offer a really beautiful, zero-cost invitation to prepare for world events through faith and dharma rather than fear. To safely navigate this destructive phase, this Yuga Sandhikala, the path to salvation is simple. Observe the Trikal Sandhya daily, begin reading the sacred text of the Srimad Bhagavat, and most importantly, take up chanting the name of Lord Madhav. Just as divine names provided liberation in past ancient eras, chanting Madhav 108 times is seen as the ultimate anchor for ours. Which leaves us with something to really think about. The timeline laid out 600 years ago by these visionary saints is intense, absolutely. It predicts a massive upheaval of our world, but it also offers a remarkably clear, peaceful, and totally accessible alternative for the soul. So, when faced with an uncertain global future, what are you going to choose? Will you let yourself be consumed by fear and anxiety, or will you accept the invitation to step onto the path of Dharma?